Rich. I'm gonna be chairing in place of Jim tonight. We are at the Alameda City Center, 1140 Dillman Road, and this is the Park and Rec Commission meeting of September 20th. Hey, Patrick, can you call the roll? Do you mind?
If you want to, go ahead.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Sorry, I don't have everybody's name here. We're still learning all of them. Here's your mic. Sorry, I don't have everybody's name here.
Can I just do it? You want me to?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just do it.
Thank you.
Keisha Lee,
Present. Oh, present.
Rob Yearman,
Here.
Sue Rich, I'm here. Jim, excused. Travis?
Here.
No. Stacy Butke? Not here.
Absent with excuse.
Absent with excuse. Bill Hanson?
Present.
All right. Before I do the written communication, I just wanted to take
I
What?
forgot the mayor who's your
Oh.
liaison,
the liaison.
the liaison,
Keep me honest. Maxine Weil
present.
and Patrick is representing Bev Tucker Knight this evening. All right, I wanted to take just one moment on a personal note, if I could. As many of you are aware, my sister passed away a month ago today, and I've been very grateful for all the support from the mayor, the city council, the members of this commission who have shown up, written cards, notes, and contacted me. I'm very appreciative and grateful. I just want to take a moment and say that on the record. So thanks, everybody. Okay, written communications. Do we have any? We do not. Hearing from citizens. Does anyone wish to speak this evening? Would you step to the mic and give us your name and address?
I'm Debbie Schwartz, 18 South Bennington Meadows. I just had a question, I don't know if it's appropriate. I just wondered how many pickleball courts are going to be at Five Oaks?
There will be 3 pickleball courts at 5 Oaks.
That was my question.
Well,
Okay.
I'm glad I had that
It's
answer.
a picture of the line in red. That's good, that's great.
All right.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, the next agenda item, Patrick. We have the minutes, correct?
Yes.
All right. Has everyone had a chance to look at them? Any corrections or comments on the minutes from the July 19, 2023 regular meeting? We have a motion.
So moved.
Did you catch that? Keisha and Rob, first and second. Can we take a vote? All in favor of recording the minutes as they stand?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Make a note of that. The next agenda item is a director's report.
All right, thank you, Council. I'll be preparing and talking about the director's report for and with Beverly being out of town. Sorry, I'm kind of going through here. You know, you're so well prepared before everybody gets here, and then you get here and everything's a little hectic. So to start off with our rec division, we started our youth soccer last weekend, and it was a wonderful day. We had St. Louis Ambush out there signing autographs, doing giveaways for kids, as well as a bunch of other different things that they were giving away. We also had a hot dog vendor there giving our selling hot dogs, and we had an ice cream truck there as well. We had wonderful weather, and games went really well. This weekend I was there on both Saturday and a little bit of Sunday, and it went really well. We had a lot going on in Stacy Park for our first weekend of youth soccer.
Do we have a number of how many kids have signed up?
We have about 900 overall, and some of those were signed up individually, and some were signed up as part of a team. So substantially larger than it has been in the past.
Almost double, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And moving on to the Five Oaks on Warson programming updates, we have been really hard at work with our parks and rec staff, building on our programs and getting ready for our brochure. We're compiling all that information and starting to form that into our brochure for our programs. We have a contract signed with Oasis for active older adult programming. That'll be on the fitness side as well as just continuing education for active older adults. We have programs lined up with the Wine Merchant, AR Workshop, programs in development with ARC and St. Louis Ambush and various other groups as well. We're also working with Les Mills for all of our fitness classes, so we will be rolling those out as well. So we'll have some virtual components where you can go in there and not have a physical instructor, but you'll be able to take different classes and experiment that way in the aerobic studio. So we're hard at work on getting those all published and ready to get sent out, because obviously people are going to start thinking about, you know, their programming in November. So we do realize that and want to get that out as soon as possible. So we do plan to move the staff into the new building on Monday. That's kind of starts this coming Monday, correct? Yeah. And the things that we'll be doing there are a lot of the setup that we need to do to run our programs, the equipment moving in, the things that we've basically been accumulating, purchasing that we need to move in. We also need to form our own organization and office setups and all that stuff. So there's a lot of balls in the air, as you can say about that. The construction has been moving at a rapid pace. Every time I go over there, there's something new, something getting completed. So it's a good thing. It is a very tight timetable, so there's always that chance that something could change on Friday when they go through and do inspections and all that. So the special event calendar, if you look in your packet, all the special events are updated on there. One of the things that you may notice on there, that the rescheduled date for the Indian Meadows park opening. And for those of you that are that was our only date really that we had an option to do without pushing it to the spring. So that is why that date was chosen. And it was really tough. I mean, we're talking about a schedule in the fall that's so chock full of different activities and not just in Olivet, but also, you know, religious holidays and religious, you know, things we have to work around as well. So that was our only one shot at it. We're going to hope for good weather this time for that. You'll also notice that the other park openings are on there with a little more details. We are more than likely going to push Warson back to the spring, just because it's kind of tough to do a park opening anytime later than the fall. Nobody wants to go out there in the cold, and plus it'll give us some time to get some of the landscaping grown in and all that. So to do something in the spring, I think will work great. You'll also see some other dates coming up that pertain to Five Oaks. The planting that we're going to be doing there will be done in October. We've got some other weed warriors going on in Warson Park. So a lot of things going on pertaining to Five Oaks and Warson Park as well.
Can you
And-
share the times of some of these events? It just has on the agenda, the dates. So September 23rd for the park opening is, I know, 10 to 12, and Indian Meadows is 4 to 6. But what time is Starry Nights and Villa Park opening?
See, I can get those dates for you. I believe if you look on the the autumn events here,
Okay,
they should have those times on there.
okay.
The Stacy,
7 o'clock.
7 to 9.
Starry night.
So that has more in way of the times.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Patrick, real quickly, I noticed in our packet, it states that we're still hiring personnel for the new community center. Is that the case?
Yeah, we have our part-time positions posted. That is for our front desk, the playground attendant and the fitness attendant, and also the person who will supervise the building when full-time staff is not there.
And
as well.
anyone interested can get that information at the website?
Yes, ma'am, and they can fill out a application online, which our new HR rep was able to kind of make that a priority to make it available to apply online, where previously it was still a lot of paper applications and sending a resume. So that's very helpful for us when we're getting a lot of applications for part-time positions.
Great.
I have a question. Is there any plan for the commission to be able to walk through the building prior to the tours for the public?
Yes.
But there is, and I'll address that later
Okay.
if you'd
I
like.
know that Bev was working on that before she left.
Yep, and there's a date in here and everything for you.
Okay.
All right.
It's just a little later.
All right, thanks.
Kind of moving on to the Parks Division update, if nobody has any other questions. The Parks staff has been, they shut down the splash pad already over at Villa, and they will begin the redoing the concrete there to make that drain. Those draining issues, they're gonna address that, and they're gonna start on that on Monday. So, but the water is now off at Villa. We're gonna keep the Indian Meadows splash pad features open a little longer into October. But they were supposed to start the concrete work this week, which is why we had scheduled that date, but they had to push back to next week.
And the reopening of those splash pads will be Memorial Day. Is that correct?
Excuse me?
The reopening of those splash pads.
They would typically be Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. They're also doing other seasonal activities. We're starting to look at planting grass seed, and Brian and the horticulturist has been hard at propagating seeds to expand some of the flowers that he plants in the spring and start growing stuff for the over the fall as well. So we also have a Weed Warriors Day coming up on October 14th, and the Volunteer Planting Day, which is at the Five Oaks Community Center on the 21st. So we've got a lot going on in the parks staff. We've also had various people out over the past couple of weeks, so we've been dealing with that and trying to get as much as we can done with a short staff. And you had asked earlier about part-time recruitment. We've gotten about 20 applications across all of our positions, looking to join our staff in a part-time capacity. So that's great. It's going to be a lot to get everybody in here for interviews, but we're excited to do that and help fill out our staff to run the building. So it's an exciting time for us. Yeah. Yep. Gotcha.
Any other questions before we move on?
Good.
Guess I should put my mic on when I say that. All right, update from the city council liaison, Mayor Maxine Weil.
I think this is one of the biggest focuses with us right now is the opening of the community center. We're very excited, and we're finally like coming to fruition. So just like Patrick said, I mean, even the picture we just saw of the playground, the indoor playground arriving. I don't know about the rest of everyone up here, but like we're involved in that, and it's just so exciting to see it physically in the building and not in the crates outside the building. So we have also been busy. There's been some new businesses. I don't know if anyone's been to visit the wine merchant at the corner at Olive and Price at Price Crossing. We also approved recently up by Plant Haven that there's going to be a new business. It's a brew pub. Am I saying that right? Brew pub, and it's going to have tapas, and it's going to be a European style brew house. It's a microbrewery and they hope to open by next spring. And then we've got, I guess, PCDC tomorrow night is going to be looking at, or next week we'll be looking at a special use permit for where Tuesday morning is. So there's some nice new facilities going in or moving within the city. And we also have, with you here, it reminds me of and I'm gonna say it right, not the padel, and pickleball courts that will be opening, hopefully this winter, or fall as well. So, there's a lot of exciting movement on that. And, we do have a retreat scheduled for the city council, and that's a time when we, do some goal setting, and we'll be working with, Beth Quindry from Shockey. She worked with us last year. And then the comprehensive plan, it's last but definitely not least, if you go, you should encourage all of your friends and neighbors to go online and fill out the survey, where it's the second survey. It gets more into the weeds. Which is an appropriate analogy here, but it really gets more in depth in some of the issues and concerns that the residents showed as priorities, and we need the feedback. And we will be having one more like town hall city event coming up, and that is in November, where people will come and be able to participate and hear like the draft and what is going to be going in front of PCDC. This is the product of the Planning and Commission and Design Commission, and then the city council adopts it from them. So it's not something that we vote on in that way. It's something that's through PCDC. We definitely please encourage people, because we need people from every quadrant and every corner of the community, because there's some really hot topics in there to look at. And then we've also been going more in depth with some DEI training as a city council. So we've done 2 trainings, and then we're looking at those trainings, then expanding to the staff here. And so the report back in March talked about the low hanging fruits, and with us being in transition of from city managers to a new city manager, we went for the low hanging fruits. And so the next step for the staff is going to be having listening sessions in small groups with the DEI consultants that we've hired for phase 2. And then we, as a city council, went through the harassment training that they will eventually do with the city staff. And then we also did the unconscious bias training, and both were excellent. And we did these with Hicks Carter Hicks, which is who we've chosen for the second phase of the DEI training for our community. Are there any questions? Kind of covered a lot of territory. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item is the fee ordinance update. So with the opening of the new community center, there was some issue to revisit many of our fees that we have. And I guess I'll turn it over to you, Patrick.
Yeah, that is correct. Some of the things that we are looking to do going into this new building, we just don't have an ordinance for, and they could be something, some of the simple fees that we're looking for are possibly like setup fees for membership that kind of help cover the cost of processing, administrative fees in regard to that for in some capacities. Also, we currently don't have fees for things like meeting room add-ons. If you wanted coffee service for a meeting, we don't have a fee set up currently for that. And also a lot of our fees that are listed in the ordinance have been kind of outdated and are in need of some revision and probably some new sets of eyes with a lot of new staff. I think that would probably be a good idea. We are looking to ask the commission to or recommending a special meeting to discuss if the commission would like to have some input. A preferred date for us that works is on October 7th at 7 p.m. To discuss these before we take them to the council. So we're hoping that we can get a quorum for that meeting so that we can discuss some of these things. October 4th. Sorry, I miswrote it on my notes. It's right on here. Wednesday, October 4th at 7 PM. Sorry, thank you.
So are
So-
we not gonna discuss part of it tonight?
We are right now compiling some of those additional fees, and since some of them are also related to programs that we are still working with contractors, we plan to present that to you and so that we can discuss in that special meeting.
Can I just ask a point of clarification? Is this in addition to the fees that the commission put together and the council approved, or are we talking about?
Yes, in addition.
Yes,
Okay.
So
And-
there were, so my understanding is that there were a few things that were left out. For example, like the coffee service. So we didn't make any recommendations on that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
there's a short list of that. And I believe what's printed in the packet are the existing. And as you can see, we've been charging different amounts than that for quite some time. And so we need to update that list to reflect our current fees.
Sue,
or
can you-
if we wanna
Can you tell us
change-
where to go in the packet? I don't see it.
It's attachment 1,
It's,
I
yeah,
think.
it's right before the downward stuff,
you see,
so almost to the back.
should be page 14. But I
They're
know
not
there's no
numbered.
numbers on the bottom, so it might not help you at all.
That's what you're looking for.
But I can pull it up here on your screen if you'd like.
But
Yeah,
these are not the fees that we recommended.
correct,
Yeah,
correct. And so the ordinance, as Patrick stated, is out of date. So part of this process is updating the ordinance and getting the approval of the council on those fees.
okay.
So it's somewhat of a two-pronged thing. It's updating these outdated across the board
Mm.
for not just for Five Oaks on Worsen, but also some of the things that we didn't have at our old community center that we look to have here. And in order for us to provide some of these services and not just eat the cost, we're looking to at least recover some of those costs that we're going to experience. For example, having coffee service for a meeting room rental.
Yeah, Rob, go ahead, please.
I- This feels awfully operational. And I would ask the commission's thoughts on whether or not this should be a policy generated by the commission, or should this be deferred to staff so that they've got some mobility or some agility around fees and costs, and especially when they're subcontracting things out.
Yeah, I think we're looking to do a collaboration. So for us to make some recommendations and for the staff to make some recommendations and then put something together to present the council so they have a starting point. But you're correct, they're gonna ultimately decide
Yeah.
the fees, but just like we've done in the past, we made recommendations and then they came back to us if necessary.
Settled solution.
So it's a collaboration, right? It's not us making the recommendation and them making the recommendation, but working together.
Okay. Very good.
So
Okay.
Patrick, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I was under the impression we were gonna actually talk about some of these. So could you explain what Halloween is? Like, is
Um,
that the Harvest Festival?
Yeah, I believe that actual one there, and granted, I haven't been here long enough to know for
Okay.
sure, but I believe that had to do with possibly either Harvest Festival or something that they used to do around Halloween, an event that they used to hold around Halloween.
But we don't charge for a Harvest
Yeah, it's
Festival.
free. So I'm not understanding.
At one time we did, if you guys recall, at the community center. At one point, there was a fee per child.
Okay,
It was a number of years ago, but there was a fee. And so again, that's why this list is outdated. Because for a few years now, we have not, right? So that needs to be updated accordingly. Go ahead, Bill.
So just a question, can we change Halloween to just like holiday? So then if we have any holiday related events, we're covered rather than coming up with one for every holiday?
Of course, most of the special events that we do are in general free to the public without, the things we provide. Obviously, there's some cost involved with if you want to eat food at some of these events. But for the most part, they are. So yeah, I think we can definitely combine like things in here to make it a little more clear and a little simpler.
Mhm. And I
For
guess
sure.
another question, is this only for Five Oaks is this across parks?
Yeah, this would be across the Parks and Rec,
Okay,
because, you know, some of these events that aren't necessarily held there, like for instance, soccer isn't really
Mhm.
held. It's gonna be run out of Five Oaks, but it is, all those will be held offsite at Stacy for the most part.
and one last question, sorry, it's just irritating me. It's like we're missing some random Rs.
Yep.
Sorry, my OCD is kicking in. It's not everywhere, so it's not a find and replace. It's only some of them.
That's why they hired me to replace all the Rs.
Okay,
Hey,
but only on some of them, which is what drives me nuts most. All right,
Yeah,
thank
this
you.
was pulled directly from the ordinance, so
So we
I'm
we
gonna take
clearly
that
need to
next
update it. Maybe At least run spell check.
So Travis, you had a question?
Yeah,
comment? Go ahead.
so for me with the fees, the last time we did this, I think it's important. I'm cool to have the discussion, and everything. I think that was the original question, but to me, it's like historically, what have we charged? What's been the cost? Like, if we can have that data when we have the discussion, I think that's really helpful. I feel
Yeah.
like last time when we started, it was just kind of like you were asking us to, not you, but just in general, pick numbers out of a hat, and it felt like, heck, I don't know where to start, right? And so if we know like sports resident, right? So these sports camps, $15 to $20. What's our fee on that? If we're losing $10 for every kid that signs up, what's the goal? Like just some color behind some of these
Yeah,
numbers is
and
important.
that is our full intention with all of our
Okay.
programs is to actually exhibit the cost recovery and what our costs are, what the program costs are to the, you know, the program participants. And so that can be seen. So that's certainly something that we want to present as part of the picture, because, you know, all these programs don't need to be, you know, some of them we just need to cover our cost, and that's it, you know. So we intend to show that and display that too.
And the intent of redoing the ordinance is to include more general language. So if the fees need to go up, we don't have to redo the ordinance every time. So put some language in there to absorb, you know, cost of living increase sort of thing. Because as you can see, in the past, we had a hard number and we've upped the thing and not updated the ordinance. So we need to be consistent. So that's the other intent of redoing this.
Yeah, and Beverly and I had looked at a lot of the other city codes as well to see what they did as far as some of their how they work with their commission to do fee updates. So that's also going to be part of the discussion too, to see how we can best do that to where we can, you know, if we need to make a charge, bringing it to, you know, bring it to you guys sometimes is a hurdle when we need to do something quick and act in the moment to make sure that we recover our cost, especially at a new community center. So certainly part of the conversation.
One more question. Sorry,
Sure.
this just popped in my head. My kids are actually playing youth soccer right now, and my wife did it, so I couldn't tell you if we paid $15 a person or not. But is this what we see here? Are these the actual prices, or this is
Those
what
are per program hour, so they're kind of skewed
Okay.
to look at them, because if you think of soccer, for instance, you have practice every week, a game every
Yeah.
weekend. So let's say 2 hours every week in an 8 to 10 week season.
Mhm.
So they pay $110 currently for
Okay.
soccer
For a resident?
per resident.
Or
Yep.
what's a non-resident?
Non-resident would have to pay a team fee because they wouldn't be registering as an individual. They would only come in as part of a team is my understanding.
You know what that fee was?
I believe it's $700 for the team.
$700 per team.
How many other?
It could be anywhere from depends on the age, but typically anywhere from 9 to 12. But they also do not get practice time or jerseys. So that $700 is purely for 8 games.
I guess I'm confused because I sat on the fee committee when we went through and went across cities, looking at all the fees and, you know, trying to see what was the average, what was high, what was low. I know that the coffee bar and all of that is extra, but this should have been part of that. So I'm confused as to what are we doing?
I will
I mean,
say-
I know you can't speak because you weren't here. And maybe it's tabled to that meeting.
Well,
but-
I know that the fees that you looked at then were about membership and rentals for, like, if someone wanted to have a party and rent the new, like, social, I don't know what you're calling it. So
The
so
multipurpose rooms. yeah.
multi-purpose
Yeah.
room. And renting the kitchen, renting different things for
Mhm.
parts of the building for for an affair, for a wedding or a bar mitzvah party or some kind of event. But this is the first time this has been brought up to us in the last 9 years. I've never seen this document before.
I don't recall seeing it either, but that's what I'm saying. If the part of us looking at the fees, why wouldn't this been part of that discussion
I
at that
think it
time?
was an oversight. Number one, and number two, they were revisiting all the ordinances and found this, right? So it was something that just was overlooked. And we've been, I guess, assigning fees, not through the ordinance. And so we want to get in line with doing that going forward. So I think you're correct. It should have been looked at, and for whatever
Okay.
reason, it was not.
Okay,
So hopefully, again, Beverly would be at that meeting and be
Okay.
able to give us some background information in more depth.
I
And
think
then
it's
we
also
can
important
address
to
it
note
on-
too, that if you're renting a room and you don't need these other additional services, you're not paying anything extra. You're paying the fee that was established by the commission and that was approved for the rental policy. Same with memberships. You know, we're not asking to reevaluate those. It's simply just looking at the other thing while also updating an outdated ordinance and how we present, you know, any rates that we might need to change or that we would have to possibly charge people for extra amenities.
And I think the other piece of the puzzle is you heard previously, the soccer program is like doubled in size.
Mhm.
And some of the other programs have gotten much more, much larger in nature. And so I think we should probably have addressed that as part of it.
Mhm.
But that's what we're doing now, is trying to get the actual athletics and recreation programs fee-based as well, and look at that. And again, craft some language so that we're not saying it's gonna be X amount. And then a year from now, based on the numbers going up or down, that we're locked into that amount. So making it a more generic, so we can take our costs in effect. I mean, I think the idea is not to lose money, but in most cases, not to generate a ton of revenue either, right? It's a service to the community and trying to find that middle ground.
So will we discuss at this meeting on the 7th, like whether I want water in the room? I mean, I can get a case of water from the gas station. I mean, I don't know. I know we're trying to be and address the needs of potential needs or asks of the community. But is that more task on staff to do those things than it's probably worth for us to go through? I mean, if you need coffee for your meeting, I mean, typically people go pick it up from Starbucks, they pick it up from Breadco. Or if you need water, you bring it with you. Because we're not gonna charge them the $5 that the case of water costs. So I mean, I just don't know how much more cumbersome we're making this on
Well,
ourselves.
I think my understanding, I had a short meeting about this, and my understanding is it comes into play when we're allowing caterers, for example,
Mhm,
that are on our preferred list.
mhm.
And it's a business meeting or something, and they're asking us to provide a person in service for that meeting.
Okay,
And-
well, I
and
think we
so
all
it's-
need to be informed of what those, I mean, I'm not trying to
Yeah, so
shy
that's
that, but I
why,
mean, I know you said you had a separate meeting, but the rest of us, I have no idea
Well,
where this
I
came
think
from.
Sue's meeting was was with Bev to prepare for leading tonight's meeting.
Right, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying that,
and because she couldn't be here, we decided that the details were gonna be tabled until the follow-up meeting. So
Okay,
we're
so
just
we'll
kind
wait
of
till the
laying
seventh.
down the idea.
okay,
And then I think she's prepared to present it to everybody at once,
okay.
because I don't have all the details either. I just got a basic overview as to why we're addressing this in the first place and
Okay.
why it wasn't taken care of previously.
It probably should have been tabled to the next meeting, but okay.
So I think that the reason it isn't is my understanding from the new city manager, when I spoke with Jennifer about it, was that Beverly needs to bring it for a first reading on October tenth to the city council. And then for a second reading 2 weeks later, because then we have the opening of the building and they need to have some of these done.
But as a
So-
commission, we wouldn't have time to, I mean, if we're having a meeting on the 7th,
The fourth, right, the fourth.
or what,
He wrote the wrong, he said the wrong date, but
okay,
it said
on
the
the
fourth.
4th.
But
Um,
so my question to Patrick is, do you see you and Beverly coming in on the fourth and saying, this is what we've been charging, here's what we propose to charge?
Well, some of those fees that we're talking about, there is no, there's no history. Because we never had, we didn't charge for, these things in the past, because we either didn't have the ability to provide these services, didn't have these amenities at the old community center. So some of these things are new things, and some of the things, were brought up, frankly, by me, to that, we do need to recover a cost for some of these things that are costing us money and us product and, things that we are purchasing. So it's more or less trying to be fiscally responsible and make sure that we are at least recouping the cost that the city incurs for whatever these items are, but also to bring those things to the table and show, how these are the fees are in relation to what the actual cost is to the city.
Can you turn your mic on? We can't hear you.
If our charge is to update chapter 240, article 2. Then being more broad-based in empowering our staff to manage against costs and versus dictating, line iteming out hourly base costs. I would like to see us stay out of the weeds from a policy perspective and give our staff the ability to manage against costs that are doing nothing but going up these days. This should not be this detailed a document, in my humble opinion.
That's why we want to update that ordinance.
No, I just want to say I won't be available that evening, so I won't be at the meeting. I have a prior engagement at the school districts.
So. All right, thank you.
So,
Madam Chairman.
Sue,
All
More
right, so,
questions?
yeah, go ahead.
So where it's a reasonable amount of effort, not only could you provide the costs, but also where we have numbers of people that have done something. And I realize they'd be more on sports. Obviously, you don't know how many people are going to drink coffee. But that could help figure out if it's $300 for us to do something, we're charging 500, but there's 900 kids playing. Obviously, that could adjust.
Gotcha.
Then one other question, I guess, can you on Wednesday, and I think I'm hearing two different things. Are we looking at more just providing some verbiage that we're going to agree to? Because it sounds like that's what the commission would prefer, is and I'm gonna say a paragraph that allows staff to determine this rather than giving us the amounts that we don't seem very keen on driving amounts.
Yeah, that is my understanding after, talking and working with Beverly, that there is kind of an interest on our part in having some control and ability to adjust those fees and to charge fees to recover costs, do that, with Beverly making that decision.
Mhm.
And, ultimately the city manager, obviously would be involved as well.
And I guess what I'm saying is, don't even, and I guess council or commission, please speak up, but I'm saying, don't even bring us amounts, bring us a paragraph to say the verbiage for us to approve or recommend for city council to approve, for you to set the fees as you see fit. Because by the time we approve it, it's gonna be months later and we're gonna, it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
And that is certainly
Over
part of it, that what we are looking at is what other city municipalities do in relation to how those fees
Mhm.
are brought and how they are changed. And obviously, sometimes they change based on budget, based on the number of
Mhm.
participants, based on space. So those things are all taken into account, but we're trying to make sure that we can do it and be nimble and
Yeah.
react in a timely manner so that we're not, like you said,
Mm.
spending the time to do this and present this information when, ultimately we are running that program in the meantime.
Okay. I mean, if we need to also approve amounts first, or provide input on them, I
Yeah.
mean, that's fine, but I'd hate for us to spend 3/4 of a meeting on that when really what you need is verbiage approval.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And that'll also remove my need to bring the number of people participating if
All right, any other questions? Comments? We're good? All right,
No, I do have one.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
So if it's a catered event, Patrick, wouldn't the caterer be providing the coffee and all of that?
Yes, in most cases, if there was a catered event, they
Okay.
would provide that. This is more for a company that's coming in to do a staff lunch and they want to have morning coffee and they don't want to lug coffee.
And they want
with
the
them.
facility manager to put it out for them?
Correct. Staff would put that out
So-
and
So where I work, there, we have a fee schedule for that. If you, you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of other organizations that have that. That should be the simplest of all this.
Yeah.
So, okay. My question for Stu was, knowing that Keisha Lee can't be there that night, Travis could be in the delivery room with his wife that night. Is there, would we even have a quorum? Will Jim be back or?
Maybe we can ask Patrick to send out a note tomorrow and check to see if we can get a quorum on October 4th
sure.
of the
Great.
members that aren't here as well.
Yeah, I can send out an email.
Thank
to
you.
You
everybody.
could do that sooner
Thank
rather
you.
than later and find out if, just ensure we're gonna have a quorum. And if not, we'll have to address that.
And if people could see like, if Keisha cannot be there that night, maybe, and you could see the information ahead of time, then you could at least write a response or send in, you know, an email with your, or talk to someone
Questions.
on the commission to share your insight so that your voice is heard.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, item number 8. Park Master Plan Implementation. And there's the dashboard.
So obviously, as I said earlier, things are moving quickly at the work site, both on the trail and all the other stuff in Worcester Park as well, the splash pad and the playground. Things are starting to be cleaned up. Things are starting to be getting towards their final stages. They will be doing some walkthroughs and punch list and inspections on Friday in the building. They've already done some on the Greenway trails and are working through those the issues that have come up during that, but things are moving along and we've got both dashboards here from September. We've got some photographs. Some of these things have changed drastically in the last 2 weeks. Even, you know, the playground, which that picture that was added into the director's report, this was just 4 or 5 days prior. So where there's no playground in that bottom right picture. So there's been a lot of work done and it is really looking like a wonderful building that, you know, we're very excited to move in and really get our hands on it so that we can work our magic and get set up to serve the community. So there is some final things that they're working on in the coming weeks are going to be in the multi-purpose rooms, wrapping up the playground flooring and a lot of audio video wiring, mounting of televisions and getting the staff in there to start setting up. So if anybody has any questions about the building, I'm happy to address those. There is also a tour, and I know that Keisha had mentioned this before. That tour we scheduled it on Friday, October 6th at 3. I know that time might not work for everybody. If it doesn't, please feel free to email me. I will take you there whenever you're available and I'm available. I'll make it happen. But that is the time that we're going to go through.
Can you repeat that date and time, please?
Yes, it is Friday, October 6th at 3 p.m. And we will walk the Greenway and have a tour of Five Oaks on Worcester. That's for the City Council and the Parks and Rec Commission. And again, if you cannot make it, or you need to come a little later, but we will have staff there to answer questions and walk through. But I'm happy to take any of the Parks Commission members if you need to go at a alternate time.
Any other questions or comments about the master plan implementation?
I do have a question. Where are we at with budget?
So that is probably the thing that I'm still
That's-
working through,
Okay.
as being a new staff member here relatively. I don't want to say anything that is not correct, so I
Okay.
will happily have Beverly share that information with you, but I am still kind of going through a lot of the budget items, and as far as being comfortable to tell you a accurate representation, I don't.
Mhm.
So there are some numbers on the dashboard page with the construction project financial summary. And there's some contingency allowance updates there as well. And a few other numbers.
I won't put you on the spot.
We do have a
Yes.
city council meeting next Tuesday night, and the city manager, when she does her reports, often goes over the dashboard. So I'll ask her to please address that, where we are in the budget.
And to update the dashboard accordingly would be great. That's a great question. Thanks.
So I do also have another question, and it may be something we want to put on our next agenda, but when looking back at old minutes, I don't know that I saw that we ever discussed like which days out of the year would the community center be closed? Because, now it's a fitness center, it's, the vision is it's a year-round community center, and I don't know that that decision's been made with the staff or how that's been addressed. Is the Parks Commission gonna have input on that? And if you don't have the answers, like we said, we don't put you on the spot tonight, being the newbie, but possibly we could put that on the agenda for next month.
So I do know that we had looked at, and I'm not sure what stage that had come through, if it had come to the commission already. But about holiday hours specifically for some days where we aren't open the full usual time that we would be on that specific day. Like, for instance, if it was a holiday on a Monday, we wouldn't be open at 5:15 in the morning and close at 9. Maybe it's a 9 to 5 hours for something for a holiday like during the week. I do know that I've seen it that we would definitely not be open on Christmas, obviously, and I believe Thanksgiving was the other holiday. I'm not sure if they had what the process was for that, but I know that that was the intention, was for sure those two, and I'm not sure if there are any additional holidays other than reduced hours on other holidays.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't know if you know this, do we have extra labor costs for people working on the holidays? Is that automatically an overtime situation or anything like that?
Yeah, I believe that any staff member, city staff member, they would have a time and a half. They would receive time and a half pay on a holiday.
Thank you.
All right. Any
I-
other questions?
Just.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
On this project dashboard, I just wondered if Navigate could update the completion dates
Okay.
on for each of these bullets they have under their project schedule and give us what our expected project completion dates are. And GRG is Great River Greenway, is that?
Correct.
And then is that the trail length from the building over to where it hits the River to Pear watershed, or is that entire piece of?
This part is the one in Warson Park,
Yeah, gotcha,
so that part of the Greenway.
Gotcha. Okay, so just appreciate some completion dates updated there, so that this dashboard
I will make note of that and
comes current.
pass it along to Navigate as well.
All right, anything else? All right.
Thank you.
Item number 9, annual work plan and commissioner reports. First off is the list of park openings. So you already addressed the change in date for Indian Meadows. Patrick, is that correct?
Yeah, so the park openings, you will see those on the special events page in your packet. These have been promoted on social media and on their city's website. In regards to our openings, our first one coming up at Indian Meadows will has a wrong date on the agenda, but they for Indian Meadows, that's the one that has been rescheduled, so I apologize that was not updated, but correct.
It is now September 28th, yes. The Herbside Park opening is still scheduled for September 23rd, correct? And you added that it's 10 to 12? What'd you say?
And it said Villa Park.
Yep.
What was the time for Indian Meadows?
4 to 6.
I'll pull that up again here for you.
Yeah, I was trying to scramble to it as well. Well, went too far. There you go.
I don't know
Okay.
why it's cut off though. But it is not, it's in your packet, the time frames that are on there. Just seemed to have cut off on this PDF, so I apologize.
10 to noon for Villa,
Outside.
or is that?
Yeah, it was 4 to 6.
But the times are correct on the.
On the detail of the packet, okay. Morrison Park would tabling till the spring,
Correct.
and Stacy Park we're considering done. That was the event that was held when we unveiled the mosaic tile bench, correct? Anyone got that date off the top of their head? It was in May. All right, any reports on any commission working group meetings? So did anyone meet and discuss anything? Not today. Okay. Annual work plan task review. I think I'm gonna let everyone take a look at that. And make any necessary updates. Does anyone have anything to update on that? People have had a chance to look at it. So we've assigned commissioners or had volunteers for the different pieces.
Yeah, it seems like right now it's just a matter of timing and availability of staff with all the other chaos going on of getting migrated from here down.
And trying to get the community center open.
Get the community
and
center
running.
open, so,
Yeah.
yeah. We've talked about fees this evening.
That is
et cetera.
certainly the priority.
Yeah, makes sense.
The last item there is the land acknowledgement discussion. So Patrick, do you want to do that or you want to?
So I actually had to reach out to Beverly. I go, can you fill me in on this? And she kind of gave me the quick notes, but if you have anything that you would like to share out of it, please do so, because I am very good.
So there was some discussion about making a formal statement available inside the building about how we acquired the land that the community center and the park sit on. And so it was, in history, it was native land. And many communities around here have done this in different ways. So we're starting to look at how we could do that and what language or verbiage we want to use. to acknowledge the fact that that land was actually Native American land and acknowledge the tribes that once resided and owned that land that we have acquired through federal grant, did I say that right? Federal land grant programs. So we're just now beginning to look at that, and we're hoping to get something in place sooner rather than later to be able to do that. So if anyone's interested in participating in that, let us know and we'd be happy to loop you in. So I think we're looking to form a small committee to get this done and then present it to the broader commission. And I know Beverly was working on putting together some examples of other communities that have statements already up and in place for us to look at what others have done.
Would
So-
this be limited to people in the commission to be involved in, or if there's someone in the community that we think might be of interest, that this might be something that they're passionate about, would we open it up to, like, invite them to
I
participate?
believe we would. I believe we're looking to form a community-wide
Okay.
committee to get, because I think there are some people that are involved in this in other ways and other places. The examples I've seen so far is like at COCA down in University City, they have an acknowledgement inside their lobby. And there's other organizations. So I know people have been involved in that elsewhere. So if they want to come assist us with that, that would be fantastic.
Thank you.
It would be interesting to somehow bring the Native American aspect of that into an opening, whether it's a reaffirmation of that grant or agreement and
Right, and so hopefully that's gonna get done. I'm not sure it's gonna be done by the grand opening. But at some point, I think we definitely want to dedicate and have some sort of dedication when we do that.
yeah.
Because certainly, I don't know what other people's opinion is, but I think we owe it to those before us to acknowledge the history of the land
Mhm.
and to include that.
Be a good teaching piece.
I don't disagree. I'm just curious as to why this is the first time we're hearing about this. And not to put you on the spot, I
believe
just
it
think that
was-
there's a lot of information that I feel like we're sitting in the dark.
I think we talked about this.
I've never heard
I have
about
to go
this.
back to the agenda, but I think this was on an agenda item when we first started talking about the master plan and the parks and what we were going to do in each park. I remember hearing a presentation, and again, I think it just got tabled.
I don't ever,
Um,
unless it was a meeting I missed and I'm normally here,
So
but
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to do a little historical dig in, and maybe I can do that before the next meeting. And try to show where it was brought up. But again, I think it's come to light. I think a number of people in the community have asked about that and asked if we were going to do it. And so they're sort of driving us to do what we should have done.
Okay.
All right.
Question on that.
Yeah, go
Did we
ahead.
do something similar for the building we're in now?
We have not,
So we can't model off of that.
no.
Okay.
But we're hoping that whatever we recommend and what we do, that they're going to take that in to advisement.
Thank you.
So we're kind of looking at it that it could potentially be in multiple buildings or multiple parks. Am I correct about that, Mayor? To my knowledge, I haven't done anything
this-
here in the
A
city.
lot of this is new to me,
Okay.
because I was under the impression that most of all of it had been farmland. So I guess prior to farmland, I didn't know there was a Native American connection. So I'll look forward to learning about it with everyone else.
All right, item number 10 is updating dates of importance, and I think we've hit a number of these already. But Patrick, if you want to expound on any of the ones we did not touch on?
Sure, some of the ones that we haven't hit on, our very popular Sweet Reads mobile library will be coming to Stacy Park again. We've done this a half dozen times since I've been here, and every time we have great participation from kids in the community, and it's a great way. They actually get to take home the books. They don't have to rent them out. They don't have to bring them back. They're theirs to keep, which is a really cool program to do, and anybody can go and participate. So it's something that we were happy to do. We've done it at our camps, we've done it at Stacy, we've done it in various locations, and it's been a huge hit every time that they've done it. Obviously, we've got a lot going on this weekend, 2 events in one day, with a park opening and a Starry Night. So our staff is going to be there at all those events, as well as soccer over the weekend. So we'll be everywhere around here. And then, of course, we've got a lot of volunteer opportunities coming up with Weed Warriors and the native garden planting, and another big event for the city, the Great Olivet Cleanout, which will be held at Stacy on October 20th. So it's another big event for the community, and our staff will be there assisting that event as well. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
And I'll
about-
make one more note that
Sure.
Veterans Park, I guess, I don't know what we're calling it now, but the park that's next door to the Firestone at the corner. It's
It's a Veterans Memorial.
Veterans Memorial. Thank you for correcting me. But notice that they've recently planted a number of plants, and that was driven, I believe, by Olivet and Bloom,
Yes.
and it looks fantastic. And so if anyone who's listening hasn't had a chance to drive by that, be a perfect weekend, it sounds like, to go take a look and see what they've done. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, we worked with Loretta and Olivet and Bloom to get the sprinklers set just right to make sure that all those plants had the water that they need, especially during the some of our droughts that we had. And once we figured it out, all those plantings really took off, and it has changed immensely in the last 2 months, and it really looks great. That you're right.
So again, thank you to Olivet and Bloom for everything that they do. We appreciate it. All right, any other questions about any of those events before we?
One thing I do want to note on there, we're gonna have tours that we're gonna set up through our software that we use, like you would use to register for a program. We're gonna set up tours on there where you can go and sign up for a tour online. You can also do it over the phone if that's your preference. But those will start on October 23rd, and that'll be for anybody who wants to come in. And there'll also be a chance for somebody to buy a membership without having to wait in line on that first day when they come there. So the idea is that you can get a tour, see the building with a staff member who can answer questions about all the aspects, and this will be for the community.
And we're still accepting membership
Correct.
applications and payment here at,
Our next member is sitting right here with us.
and they can still come to the city hall during normal business hours to do that.
That is correct.
Do you, I'm gonna put you on the spot again. Do you by chance have a current number? how
I
many?
know that we have already sold over, I want to say it's around 10 to 12 households. And that, it could be just 2 people, just a husband and wife, or it could also be a complete family with kids too. So we've got, and that's sight unseen. I mean,
I think it's higher than that.
Yeah, I think it is.
Last
as
I
well.
checked, it was higher than that.
the what?
It was higher than that
Yeah,
last I checked.
I mean, that's per household or just a household. So there has been, I mean, we have over about $3,000 in revenue in just past sales that we've had so far that I've noticed. So I try to check in on it every now and then, but I had the last time I did check, it was right around 3,000.
Yeah, and again, if people have questions, they can come up,
Correct. Yeah.
and there's someone here full time that can answer
Correct.
those questions here at the city hall.
It'll change a little bit once we are moving into the new building, because we're gonna try to transition staff to there,
Right.
but we'll still be able to return voicemails and get back to people that are interested for sure.
So I will plug the next coffee with the mayor. We are doing on Wednesday, October 11th. We are having coffee with the mayor, and Beverly and Patrick will both be there, I believe. And we're going to do a virtual tour of the new community center, because our original hope was that we would be in the community center by then, but since we're not going to be in Five Oaks by then, there will be a virtual tour up on these 2 screens as part of the coffee with the mayor. So that's at 8:45 on October 11th.
Yeah, we're excited to get that set up. We looked into all these real estate photographers to help us do that tour, and extremely expensive. And we actually found a company that where you can actually do it yourself. So they, you buy the equipment. So we'll actually be going out and doing that this week and early next week, so that we have a really cool virtual tour that we can put wherever we want. You can actually go from one spot to the next. You can go in rooms. So we're excited to get that put together, but we're trying to wait until as much construction stuff is out of there before we actually tape it. So we're real excited to show it. So that'll be the first time everybody gets to see it is at the Coffee with the
and-
Mayor.
Just to repeat the highlight there, October 23rd is when residents
That is
and
when the-
prospective
correct.
people can start taking tours.
Mhm.
And November 1st is the soft opening of that community center.
Yes, ma'am.
So just to highlight those 2 dates, if anyone's trying to figure out timing. All right.
October 1st is by invitation only, and of course, you'll all be on the invite.
All right, and I believe they're gonna make announcements as they roll out
Yes.
via the Olivet Facebook page or the Park and Rec page.
Yep, and we have a Five Oaks on Warson Instagram page and Facebook page that we have kind of kept under wraps for a little bit. But we're gonna start using that in conjunction with our other Facebook Olivet pages as well.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Further down under future items, ACA cricket pitch donation.
So that had come up, they had requested to come to a meeting to talk about donating some money and for us to eventually have a cricket pitch installed at Stacy Park that wouldn't interfere with baseball or softball or soccer. Then they kind of, we didn't hear from for a long time. They have another facility that they play cricket at, and they've gone for a lot of tournaments. A lot of them have traveled, and we just really, to be honest, lost touch with them. We've invited them to several Parks and Rec Commission meetings and have not heard from them. We actually met with a group that we believed was affiliated with them last week. Our rec staff did, and this was a totally different group that wants to do a cricket tournament out at Stacy. So we're trying to coordinate that with them. I would say this is still in talks, but it is very slow moving. Since I've got here, I've met them, and we received one email after several were sent to them. So it's a work in progress. I think they just have a lot of places to play at the moment, but would like to eventually establish it here in Stacy and in Olivet.
Very good. Thank
All
you.
right, so future items will be the fee ordinance update. We're gonna talk more about that work plan and the park, obviously, implementation as that rolls out and evolves. Any other questions? Go ahead.
May I make a statement before we adjourn?
Sure.
I would just like to thank our citizens for staying. We don't normally have members. So thank you for joining us and staying for the entire meeting. I appreciate that.
And our Boy Scout.
And our voice.
Is this for Eagle Scout or Boy Scout? Very cool. Congratulations.
All right,
That's it. Thank you.
you're welcome.
You picked a good meeting.
It will, thank you. I appreciate that.
You will be proud.
I will, I'll take motions,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
take a poll. Everyone in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everyone opposed? The ayes have it. We are done.
Thanks, Sue.
Have a good rest of your evening, everyone.
Good time.
Gotcha. You're a pickleball guy. Yeah, I think you were the first time I ever answered a phone call. Was you. So I'll remember that. Yeah, I was certainly very new.
So what do you need to do?
Certainly
Just attend a couple of meetings?
Yeah,
What do you need to do for, just sit here and listen to us?
got some equipment on the way already. All across.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Nice. You know what your project's gonna be? Okay.
Are you still recording?
I wish I would have got mine. I got into basketball and got out too soon, so good job sticking with it.